We've talked about ND filters before and how they're a critically important piece of gear for keeping consistent production value in your videos. And I love helping people figure out how to make better videos, but part of that really is navigating the world of gear and how expensive it can be. And sometimes something comes along and it seems like this is the thing you have to make good videos. Is that true or is that not true? That's pretty much what we're gonna talk about today. So ND filters give you more control over the look of your projects, and they make certain styles possible that would otherwise be impossible. This is the PolarPro Peter McKinnon edition variable ND filter, and this is not a sponsored video in any way. In fact, most of the reviews for this filter came out months ago, and I was curious to find out for myself whether or not this filter is worth the price, because it is a little bit expensive and they make quite a few pretty big claims about it. So just to spoil the rest of this video, yes, this filter is absolutely the best ND I've ever used. It's actually kind of insane how good this filter is. So that's the video, but no, here's why I think that. Up until now, I've been using a pretty inexpensive ND filter from a brand called Zomei that I found on Amazon. And I got this filter a long time ago, so I kind of forgot how much I spent on it. The Peter McKinnon filter usually sells for about $250 and comes in a 3 to 5 stop version and a 6 to 9 stop version, and you can get them both in a pack for about $450. I forgot how much I paid for my filter, and when I looked it up, I realized that it usually sells for about $30. So it's a pretty big difference between $250 and $30. But I think that's a realistic comparison because I got this filter when I didn't have any ND filters, and I just wanted one so that I could use wider apertures and slower shutter speeds outside. And I didn't have a ton of budget, and I didn't even know if an ND was gonna be worth it. So I just kind of went with a decent reviewed one that was inexpensive. Now for that price, the Peter McKinnon filter comes in this like incredible packaging. It's huge and beautiful, and there's images all over it. It comes in this magnetic case with Peter's signature on it, and it's actually really satisfying because it's held together really strongly with magnets, and the filter fits right in here perfectly, and then it closes, and everything is just really satisfying about this. It even comes with this PolarPro Slim Defender, so when the filter is mounted on your lens, you've got this hard lens cap to protect it, and everything just fits in here, and it's just so nice. This is actually made out of metal or aluminum, or I guess aluminum is metal. So it's a whole thing. Just for the price, you get a whole thing. My filter came in plastic, but realistically, it's not about the unboxing or the packaging. That's something that lasts a few minutes. Using the filters, hopefully as tools, is something you're gonna do for years and years if they're decent. So let's look at the difference between these two filters. The Peter McKinnon filter is made from PolarPro's Quartz material that they use on some of their other NDs. Now, I have had a few of the non-variable PolarPro Quartz line filters for about a year and a half, and these things really are amazing. The quartz on them is this super strong material that is shockingly resistant to scratches and fingerprints and moisture. If you've ever used a filter in like rain or wet weather, you kind of know what a nightmare it can be. And the reason that I don't use these for video is just that I found using non-variable NDs can be really tough for video. They're just stuck at whatever they are. Like this one right here is an ND8, so it's just ND8 no matter what. And when you're doing video, that's tough because your situation can change pretty often, and a fixed filter loses the versatility. For photography, it's terrific, but for video, I really do recommend a variable ND. And as much as I love good, inexpensive gear, there is something that seems a little bit futile about spending all this money on a really nice camera and a really nice lens, and then you just put this cheap piece of glass in front of it. That's where the Peter McKinnon filter steps in and maintains that really high quality level of glass and material that's gonna do justice to the expensive lens on the expensive camera that you're using. So really though, what is the difference between these two filters? To break it down a little more simply, when comparing an inexpensive filter to an expensive filter, here's what I've learned. The expensive Peter McKinnon filter is just much tougher. It maintains your image quality. It doesn't produce that cross polarization pattern. Sometimes when you're using an ND filter, especially if it's a cheaper one, you'll get this X pattern because you basically have two pieces of glass that are moving within the filter, and when they cross at a certain angle, it puts this dark X across your image. It happened all the time while I was using this filter in Iceland last summer, and it actually kind of ruined a lot of photos and a lot of video. But the Peter McKinnon filter doesn't do that at all. If you look on the side of the filter, it actually has the stops just written on it. And the filter has a hard stop that's not gonna let you go beyond that, which basically means it prevents you from having those pieces of glass cross in a way that's going to give you that cross polarization pattern. Whereas on my cheaper filter, it does have stops, but there's so much more movement between them that it gives you that effect. Now, the cheaper filter, it gets the job done. Like I said, I've been using it for like 1.5 years or 2 years. A bigger thing about this filter is that it does scratch and smudge easily. If it's rainy or wet, you're just kind of totally out of luck. Fingerprints, moisture, scratches, it's just not really as durable, and even just holding them in your hand, they feel entirely different. But that doesn't mean the cheap filter's not worth it. I would 100% recommend this cheap filter over no filter, because at its very core, using an ND filter opens up a lot of creative options that you wouldn't have otherwise. So I think that makes it worth it. And aside from just being made out of nice materials, the McKinnon filter does have a few other things that I have found enjoyable as I've been using it out and about. The ring feels really good. When I first took this out of the box, it was kind of rough. But as I used it for, part of a day, that quickly wore in, and now it's just so smooth and easy to use. It also has a really grippy ring on the side to put it on and off of your lens. When I put my filter on my lens, sometimes I actually have trouble taking it off because it just sort of gets there, and if your hands are sweaty or wet or it's just on really tight, it can kind of be hard to get off of the lens. Whereas this one has this really nice little grippy ring that sticks out, and it's so easy to just grab onto it, twist it, add it, take it off to your lens anytime. So it's clearly a well thought out, really well made tool. And I'm borrowing this filter, which is the 2 to 5 stop version. I'd love to get my own one day, but when I do it, I think I'm gonna go for the 6 to 9 stop version, since I'm weird and crazy and I love filming at a wide open aperture, like 1.4, pretty much whenever possible. This one, sometimes I have it cranked all the way to 5 stops of ND, and it's still not quite dark enough, and I have to bump up the aperture to like 2.8 or 3.2 to use it, and I'd really love to be able to get down to 1.4. But in the end, I've been wanting to play around with this Peter McKinnon variable ND filter for a while, and I wanted to spend some time with it and see if it lived up to that hype, and I'm really happy to say that it totally did. I'm shocked at how great this filter is. It is expensive, but in the world of camera gear and filters and lenses, it's actually a fairly reasonable price if you're able to make that investment. And like I said, the Quartz line non-variable NDs are really some of the best filters I've ever used, and I actually made a video last summer about them when I was on that incredible trip to Iceland and Switzerland. So if you want to learn more about these filters and why ND filters are an important thing to use, check out that video and I'll show you how these can really help save your footage.